Good morning, paranormal travelers. This morning I find myself in a unique location. A location that many of you, of my viewers on YouTube, have asked me to come to. And I'm here. I'm standing in the heart of the Hürtgenwald, where the longest battle the Americans and the Germans fought in World War II was right here, right where I'm standing. I am outside the small town of Hurtgen, and these trails you see here in the forest during World War II were filled with division after division of American soldiers and tanks. Beyond those trees, it was horrible. Over 33,000 casualties. 33,000. And they estimate between 33 and 55,000 casualties for the Americans. For the Germans, 28,000 casualties. It was a horrible, horrible battle. And it's a battle that was actually unnecessary. Later, it was revealed that this area was of no consequence to the overall war, and yet it was the most extreme battle during World War II. Before I came to Hürtgenwald, I did a printout of some information, and it's really little wonder that the American forces that came through here, and we didn't come through here with our allies, it was the American forces pretty much on their own, that came into the Hürtgenwald, now known by many as the meat grinder. What happened was the US wanted to root out the Nazi encampments here in the forest so that they would not be attacked or flanked while taking Aachen. Aachen was the first German city that the Allied forces overtook, and that battle was taking place down that way towards Aachen, which is maybe 15 kilometers from here. The battle here, wow, what happened was the Americans, we would send division after division after division into the forest, up the mountain. Tanks, soldiers, and the forest would chew them up and wouldn't spit them back out. And there was minefield after minefield. So after division would be sent into the forest, they would be cremated, decimated. And instead of stopping and, surrounding or doing something to neutralize the forest instead of invading it, more divisions would come into the forest, and more divisions would be decimated. They are still finding MIA in the forest. And that's where I bring us now. We are entering a World War II war cemetery here in Hurtgen. There's about 500 unknown soldiers here that still have not been identified. And there's what's called comrade crosses, because in the ground below each cross is between 4 and 8 people. Now I'll show you. These are the comrade crosses. And as you can see, it says Unbekannter Soldat 3 times. That means there's 3 buried right there. However, if you go around the cross, you'll see that it says Unbekannter Soldat Arno Bertram, and then Unbekannter Soldat. That means there are 6 people buried right here, 6 soldiers. And that goes for all of these comrade crosses you see here. Also buried here, and highly underestimated, is that after the war, it took a major effort to retrieve bodies from the forest and remove landmines. To this day, there are still bodies in the forest and there are still landmines. You can see how the crosses are in these curved lines going through, and we're going to head over there to this memorial. And it's very solemn here. It's designed that way. The Germans were not really allowed to honor their dead. It's a sad reality. Many of these soldiers were forced. And they were buried in shame. So what I'd like you to do right now, go on Google Maps and type in Hürtgenwald War Cemetery. And then when you pull that up on Google Maps, zoom in to where I am right here. I'll give you a diagram so that you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so zoom in to the cemetery, and as you zoom in and other nearby landmarks make themselves known, what I want you to do is zoom in and look at those landmarks. Do you see anything peculiar? Okay, if you haven't pulled up Google Maps or you're unable to at the moment, no problem, I'll show you. Right there in the forest, and right over there on the other side are minefields, and they're marked on Google Maps, believe it or not. So if you're looking at Google Maps, it'll say Minenfeld, and it's right next to this war cemetery, and those are actual minefields. And further out into the forest, there are still minefields that have not been cleared, that are restricted, that you cannot go to. It's an unreal reality. Whew. And there's someplace I want to go, and I want to take you today. And it's where an American soldier was killed, and he stepped on a landmine. So we're coming up to, and I want to go there in the forest, knowing that there could still be landmines out there. But I want to pay my respects, and I brought something for that soldier today. Okay, let me show you this. It is so solemn. And this is the cross that's here. There's such a feeling here that I can't really explain. It's a incredible feeling, and I could feel like I'm surrounded, and I am surrounded in a sense, but like there's so many souls here that have never left. So right across that fence, you see that fence right over there? That I'm getting closer and closer to the minefield that you see on Google Maps. So I don't know how far I should walk here, but it looks like wreaths have been thrown over. I don't think those are tires. Those are wreaths. Look at that. You're not supposed to bring wreaths and flowers and here into the cemetery, but some people still bring them. And it looks like they're removed and put here. But right over there in the forest is or was the minefield. I know it's listed as a minefield. I am not going to go over to test it out. Whew. There are so many paranormal claims from the Hürtgenwald that I had to print them out. There's pages and pages and pages of the claims over the years that have been from this forest. Some of them seem so beyond, but it's been multiple claims, not just one person, but so many people have come here, and from villagers and from visitors and from people coming to pay their respects. There's so many claims. So I'll start a little bit. I'll read a little bit what I printed for you. The Hürtgenwald, a dense forest in western Germany, where we are, is notably known for the intense battles during World War II, particularly the Battle of Hürtgen Forest, where thousands of soldiers on both sides lost their lives. Due to its history of bloodshed and suffering, the forest has become the center of various paranormal claims and eerie legends. Some of the most commonly reported paranormal phenomena in the Hürtgenwald include ghostly apparitions of soldiers, unexplained sounds. Witnesses have claimed to hear distant gunfire, marching footsteps, or the sounds of war that echo through the forest, despite no current combat occurring in the area. And there's no training. Well, there is a training area near Aachen, but that's quite a bit distance from here. These sounds are often attributed to the residual energy of the battle that took place. Disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and strange movements in the forest. Geez, there's some more now. I could have sworn I heard a gunshot. Strangest thing. Geez, there's some more now. I could have sworn I heard a gunshot. Strangest thing. Mysterious lights, unusual animal behavior, phantom battalions, disorienting feelings and loss of time, wailing spirits, mysterious black smoke. What's that? There have been reports from locals and visitors who have claimed to encounter a strange black smoke or mist that appears suddenly. Wait a minute, let me read this here. Especially when near the spots most heavily affected by the battle. Some who have encountered the mist say it is accompanied by a sense of dread or unease, which leads many to believe it is an omen or a manifestation of the suffering experienced by those who fought and died here. Unseen watchers or eyes in the dark feeling like you're being watched. Unexplained disappearances. Oh wow. Though rare, there have been a few documented accounts of people getting lost in the Hürtgen for days without explanation. I heard of that. Despite not having left the marked trails or paths, they report a sense of being pulled in the wrong direction. Actually, I was reading a blog article of a lady that was here in the forest hiking with her husband, and they got lost in the forest even though they thought they were on the right path and they were following the directions the entire time, and yet they still got lost. I mean, it is a dense forest, right? You see this highway or this road going through it, but further back, it gets pretty thick. And we're going to go in it in just a moment. So, the battlefield's unholy energy. Okay, another claim that some paranormal investigators and visitors describe is the feeling of an unholy energy around certain areas in the forest. Now, that is something that's very interesting about this forest. They say that the forest was cursed long before World War II, perhaps by the Celts or the Romans, but most likely the Celts and Druids up to 2,500 years ago. In fact, the Celts were known to be in this area, and later down the road here in Maastricht. Maastricht is a Dutch city that's not very far from here, just a little bit past Aachen. So it is said that the forest here was already cursed and that there was an unholy energy. And that might explain why it was the longest battle during World War II, and both sides took tremendous losses. And the Americans, as they were coming through the forest, they were just getting eaten up as they went in. That, again, it was the meat grinder. And what they described it also as, the green hell. Okay, so that is just, cursed locations. Right, I was just reading about that. So, yeah, that's interesting information there about it being cursed, because it kind of, well, it was just, a war was horrible no matter what, curse or no curse. But for this to be such a devastating location in all the war, this to be, and another thing that, if you never heard of Hürtgenwald, that's kind of by plan. This is not something the American military wanted to reveal back home. In fact, it's not even something the Germans wanted to reveal to their people. They didn't want to know that their country had been invaded. So this was kept secret by both sides for a long time. So I'm coming up to a very important monument, and it's heartfelt. This is a very meaningful plaque placed here. I'll read it to you. No man hath greater love than he who layeth down his life for his enemy, in memory of Lieutenant Friedrich Lengfeld. So here in Hürtgen Forest on November 12, 1944, Lieutenant Lengfeld, a German officer, gave his life while trying to save the life of an American soldier laying severely wounded in the Wild South, that's a minefield, and appealing for medical aid. So Lieutenant Friedrich went to help the American soldier in the forest over in the minefield and gave his life to try and save the American soldier. And he himself landed on a mine and was killed from his injuries. Whew. So the veterans came up here and placed this plaque in memory of Lieutenant Friedrich Lengfeld. So here's the thing. There are several stories of that happening during the war, where soldiers, although they were fighting against each other, when they found them in vulnerable situations, they didn't always go for the kill. They tried to help each other. It sounds strange and odd, but war is that way. And most of the people fighting in the war, on both sides, didn't want to be there. They didn't want that for it. They didn't ask for it. They were doing duty to country, but in a moment of grace, trying to help an enemy who was dying and died. And he himself, Lieutenant Friedrich Lengfeld, gave his life for an American soldier. Today, American Germans are allies. We are together in NATO. But the soldiers during World War II obviously were enemies. But with the exception of something like this that happened with Lieutenant Friedrich Schlingfeld, I brought something for him and for this cemetery, really, and I'm going to lay it next to his plaque. And that is this coin, American German flags together. And I'm going to set it next to the plaque. So folks, I'm on a hike out in the woods here. I was hoping to get kind of close to where I'm going, but looks like they're working and it's blocked, so I've had to hike down here. You know, as I've been up here in the Hürtgenwald, I have to say, how they got all those tanks up here and the amount of soldiers they had up here, man, that was major. It's just really impressive to think how they were able to send battalions and battalions of tanks into this harsh wilderness. And I'm going to give you a gander in a moment of the Hürtgenwald, the real Hürtgenwald as we get. Well, it's all, but there's not as many trees right here, but we're about to walk into it and show you the terrain the American military was in. I mean, it wasn't just a battle against the Germans, it was a battle also against the terrain itself. So again, I'm just like I don't even know if this road was here at the time. And look, this is the terrain that they fought on in World War II. Way out here. We're up high right now. Wow, this forest is like unlike any other I've been in. It's just incredible. And it's spooky. It's just to imagine. I have such a sense of, wow. I can't even explain it. I want to explain it, but I can't. Foxhole right over there. Looks like it's been filled, but it's definitely a foxhole. Wow. Just imagine right where I'm standing. The main thrust, the battle is right here. So beautiful. And yet so haunting. No wonder they called it the Green Hell. That's what the soldiers called it. Wow, there's such an eerie and lonely sense up here. I have a very, very eerie sense as I walk deeper already. Got the word already. So the one thing I did do is I did turn on the app that gives me words. Oh, look at the geese up there. Sad. Oh, that is so, wow, sad. And one thing I will tell you, on my phone, I have location services always off because I don't like to give my location away. And so apps are not allowed to access the location. So to get the word sad is very, very relevant up here. Wow. And go, oh, what's this? All right. We've come up to a memorial here already. Oh, this is the memorial. In memory, let me show you. In memory of Robert Cahill, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Cahill, an American soldier of World War II, 311th Regiment, 78th Infantry Division, U.S. Army. He rested in an unknown forest grave for 56 years until by chance his remains were found and recovered by a German ordnance sweeping team nearby this marker. Robert, we never did or will forget you, your family. Oh my goodness. Positive. Oh my goodness. Wow. I see something. I'm going to go up here. I have something for Robert that I brought with me. This is why I came up here. So I want to see. Oh, here it is. This is the exact spot where Robert was found. As I told you, they had ordnance teams coming through here, removing mines and bodies. And I believe he was found in the year 2000. Now, over 100 of those mine removers that removed the ordnance, over 100 of them died in duty removing those mines. Here we are. Oh my goodness. To the memory of PFC Robert Cahill and all soldiers who fight for the freedom of mankind, we will always remember. Rest in peace. December 9th, 2011. And I believe his body was found in 2000. 56 years. Oh, 55 years, sorry. It says right here. 55 years long he was missed. And he was found. Oh, I have such chills. I cannot begin to tell you. And it's just emotional. Very emotional. Oh my goodness. And in the forest there, I get a sense of being watched, of all the lost souls that are here. It's a heavy, heavy feeling, and I think anyone that comes up here would have the same feeling. Oh my goodness, and just look at this. Just look at this. Now, I watched a video of this so many years ago, and it's good to see that there are pieces, objects still here that I saw in that video, which gives me hope, because I brought this one with me. It says, serving Serving our country with courage, honor, and bravery. American valor. And I'm going to leave this here, this coin. Right there. On top. Oh my goodness. This is incredible. Just incredible. In the saddest way possible. What they must have gone through. Just horrible. And I feel like I'm drawn to that area of the forest there. So as I'm hiking up here, I found another memorial. This one's was from 3 soldiers. Not sure how they died, if they died from a mine or battling. And I'll show you. So here it is. Wow. Okay, so what it says is 32 years long they were missed, and on the 12th of May 1976 they were found here together in a grave, a natural grave. From, not sure if they were buried or if they were just covered here and they just died here. Now, so I imagine at the time there was no logger path here, and it's just off the logger path, so maybe when they were building the path they found them. That happens sometimes when they're building streets or paths through the forest. That's not that's not uncommon. Wow. So it was Francis Dimple, USA, Richard Quick, USA, and an unknown German soldier. All 3 of them found right here, buried together. Wow. So I was just walking here and I noticed that there's pieces of concrete. So this is man-made. So there could be that there's a bunker underneath here. So this whole complex right here could be a bunker. So I'm coming up to the edge and you can see there must be a bunker hidden underneath here. Look at this. Wow. Yeah, there's definitely, and I'm not touching those either. But there has to be a bunker underneath this. To go to the edge. Yeah, well. Oh my God, there's a. Okay, I hate to do this. This is so not smart. Wow, what is over here? I don't recommend this to anyone. You should never do this. But I want to see. Oh man, there's something there. And it might be why the road is cut off. But I'm getting dizzy now because I know if I slip, it's incredibly dangerous here. So I'm going back the way I came, if I can. Holy crap, that was stupid. It is so slick. Look at this. One slip and I could go down. Forget about a minefield. Not exactly my smartest move ever, but I just wanted to see if it was possible to see the bunker. And I think you can from the other side, but it's restricted. And they're working. And I think there was a landslide and the bunker revealed itself. And I was going down the side there and I didn't realize it. And if I'd gone any further, whoa, that could be really, really not good. Because look, it's right below here. But yeah, I can see the bunkers right below my feet. This is all cement. So I'm definitely standing on a bunker, a hidden bunker. And where the landslide was, could reveal the rest of the bunker. And I have to say, I'm really, really, sounds like a chainsaw. I'm getting really dizzy right there at the edge. So I'm gonna walk away from the edge. But you can see remnants of the bunker here. And it's completely buried underneath the ground. And it must have just been recently revealed from the landslide. Wow, that explains why the road is blocked off. Wow, it's incredible. Oh man. And I know this is the west wall, Siegfried Line. This is part of the west wall, Siegfried Line, right up here. Oh my goodness, it's incredible. Okay, so what I want to do is I have a few of these with me. I'm going to leave this one here, and this one's especially special because it is the German American. Now that we're allies, and they were buried together here, so I'm going to leave one here. Oh, and look, there's a little cross right there as well. Very nice. So I'm gonna leave that there. Wow. Okay, so I'm now at the Second War Cemetery in Hürtgenwald. And I'm about to take you to one of the most famous graves in the war cemeteries up here. So here lies Field Marshal Walter Model. So he is the Field Marshal. He is the one that foiled the U.S. plans here in the Hürtgenwald. Wow. And you'll notice there's something a lot different about his right here. Is that as you see the others, they're all raised. The headstones, they're all raised, but this one is not. This one is below the cement, and it's solidly in there. The reason for that is, as many times as they've made his headstone the same as the others, it's been stolen. It's a continued theme that they come and steal this from what the reports say. So that headstone has been stolen several times. And that's his grave right there. Walter Model. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct. He is known as the savior of the Eastern defense, the Lion of Defense, and Hitler's fireman. To the Nazis, he was very special. He committed suicide at the end of the war, knowing all was lost. Hopefully we learn from history how we treat our fellow man. Wow. pretty solemn out here. You know, it took me a while. I went through this whole cemetery a couple times because none of them are marked in a special way that you would notice them. And yeah, so if you don't know where his grave is, it takes a while to find it. And I guess now it is kind of marked in its own way, seeing as how it's not raised like the other ones. Morning, paranormal travelers. I am at the moment looking for a monument here in the Hürtgenwald. So it's another day. I've come back because last time it was so very cold that I could not continue. It was minus degrees, if you couldn't tell, with the mist coming out of my mouth, and I had a much heavier jacket and it was just freezing. So I came back. And now I'm looking for a very special monument. And I had one more coin and I want to leave it here at this specific monument, so I had to come back. And I just found it. It's right over there. Oh wow, look how this forest is so misty and beautiful and blanketed with green moss. It's just incredible. And look at the mist and the... So to me, wow, look at that. So just the appearance here gives rise to me of why there would be paranormal claims, so many, because just looking at it here, I have a sense of not dread per se, but mixed in with sorrow and with so many lost souls in the area. Like, they're all around. You feel surrounded. And last time, a part that I couldn't film, I thought I saw someone or something in the trees. Okay, here it is. And I'm not sure, I didn't go towards it because in that particular area there was warnings of mines. Look at this. Oh my God. So here we are. This is what I wanted to come to last time, but it was so cold that I could not. Okay, so one of the things about being here in the Hürtgenwald is that there are still so many missing soldiers in the forest. They're still finding MIA out here. And they return the remains to the families or to the states or even to German authorities if it's German troops. So there's a monument right here that is dedicated to those that are still missing. And I had one more coin that I wanted to leave here, and I wanted to leave it here at this specific monument. It's just such a sense in the air. I really have the feeling, oh my God. Okay, I'm not kidding at all. Right over in those trees over there, I just saw somebody walking, and I'm pretty sure that it was an actual person. I think. It would have to be, right? I do see movement over there. There could be another person, could even be an animal. It's like weird, there's such a sense here. And the first word that comes to mind is foreboding. But I don't want to say it's foreboding, even though it is. And I'm not too far from civilization. There's a road just right over there. Okay, so sorry, I getting distracted. So this is a very special coin that I want to leave up here. And you can see a soldier carrying another soldier. And what it says is, it says fulfilling their trust, no one left behind. And that's very important, because when they find the MI that died up here that have been in the forest for all these years, they do find their way home if they can be identified, or to at least an American military cemetery, or to a German cemetery, war cemetery if they're Germans. So this coin is a symbol, and it says on there, "Thank you for your service." Oh, I got the word wonder when I read that. So right here, and you see where it says here, for missed. So it's a monument to the missing. And I want to leave this coin. You see the angel? And I'm going to take this coin right here, and I'm going to leave it right inside there. And these coins are important in and around the military community. I've spent my whole life, heck, I was born on a military installation, Travis Air Force Base in California, so I just wanted to leave that there for those who lost their lives here and are still here in the forest. And hopefully one day they will be found. Okay, paranormal travelers, I'm now in Wosenach. Wosenach is a little town here in Hürtgenwald, the Hürtgen Forest, where the U.S. military wanted to get their base of operations set up in the Hürtgen Forest. This town right here. And today it's just a nice, quiet town up in the Hürtgen. Cars going by, normal village stuff. But in World War II, right here, right where I'm standing, was the center of the first offensive coming up here in the Hürtgenwald. If you imagine, if you will, the U.S. military, the U.S. Army coming up here with their tanks, and they had to fight house to house to get the Nazis out of Wosenach. The problem with that is they completely underestimated the enemy, and they eventually took Wosenach. But in order to take it, they had to practically destroy it. And what I mean by that is, at first they were going house to house, room to room, to clear them. But then they soon realized they couldn't even do that, because there was just so much. Again, they underestimated them. So what did they do instead? The tanks started blowing the houses up. Instead of going out, because it was too dangerous to go house to house, they just started blowing them to smithereens. In fact, somewhere around this area, they had one of them that was left standing that they called the Hurtgen Hotel, where the soldiers stayed in. But for the rest, they blow them, including this church right behind me. And I want to go into the church and show you the photos of what this church looked like in 1944, after the U.S. military came through here and had to clear it of the German soldiers, the Nazis who were fortified here. And that was a major operation, but it was nothing compared to what the U.S. military would face as they headed deeper into the forest. In fact, this town, this village, would change hands several times. Okay, so now I'm inside the church. It's been rebuilt. Wow, it's nice and beautiful. Okay, here are the photos. This is what it looked like in 1944 after the town had been taken. This is the church. And then after it had been rebuilt in 1957 to what it is now. Did you know that up here in the Hürtgen Forest there is a trail named after Ernest Hemingway? Right. And the reason for that is a little known fact about World War II is that Ernest Hemingway spent 18 days in the Hurtgen at the height of the battle. In fact, he was here as a correspondent for the war, but he actually took part in the war. He had 2 canteens, one full of schnapps and one full of whiskey. And as he went through the battles, he would offer one or the other to soldiers, and he never turned down a drink. So he was not just a correspondent, though. He also carried weapons, and he took part in the war. There are some who say on the trail that's named after him, the Hemingway Trail, that they have seen his apparition while walking the trail. Personally, I find that a little hard to believe. I don't think that's him that they're seeing. I'm not going to say they're not seeing somebody, but what I am going to say is that I don't think it's him. He didn't die here. He didn't die in the war, and he was not a fan of war, and the way he describes Hurtgen is not in a pleasant way. He did not like his time here. In fact, he got so sick and so filled with alcohol that he had to leave. But he fought up here with the soldiers, believe it or not, Ernest Hemingway himself. There is also another story about him and soldiers where they overtook a church, not this church, but they took over a church and they drank all the sacramental wine that was in the cellar. And in Ernest Hemingway, he was so, had drank so much that he would urinate in the empty bottles and fill them and then cork them up and put them back in place for the enemy to find and drink whenever the enemy would return to that church. The problem is Hemingway got so drunk that once he opened up one of those wine bottles that he corked, he took a swig and he didn't like it. But the fact of the matter is Ernest Hemingway was up here and he did fight in the battle, and that's why there is a trail named after him. That's it from me today. It's been an incredible experience. If you enjoyed this video here in the Hürtgenwald, do me a favor, like the video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Appreciate that. That's all the support I need from you. And share it with anyone you think might be interested. I know you might have been waiting for a paranormal investigation, but I just don't have the feeling that that is something I should be doing up here today. Appreciate that. That's all the support I need from you. And share it. Appreciate that. That's all the support I need from you. For the first time experience of coming up here and leaving these coins and paying my respects, I just don't have the feeling that that's something I want to do. So I hope you appreciate that and hope you enjoyed the video and the history of this forest. Thanks for watching.